Hey everyone, this is Steven here, back at it again with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the NBA basketball sports card market. But before we get into that, if you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more in the future, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. So now that we got all that out of the way, we can get into the actual video here. I did want to say that I hope everyone is having a great Saturday and weekend so far. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the NBA basketball sports card market. We are currently in the second round of the NBA playoffs. So far, we've had a couple really good series, some not so good series, but overall, we're still currently in the second round of the playoffs. Now, what we've typically seen in the past is that during the regular season, the NBA market as a whole is typically trending down. Now, once we hit the playoffs, that's when we start to see some more price movements. So if a player exceeds expectations or their team advances further into the playoffs than expected, then their cards typically start to trend up. Whereas if players underperform or their team gets knocked out earlier than expected, then their cards typically start to trend downwards heading into the off season. So I wanted to take a look at some players today just to see if that trend is still holding up, to see if we're starting to see some card movements as we are currently in the NBA playoffs. For today's video, I did pick a couple players that did not make the playoffs. I picked some players that got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, and then I picked some players that are exceeding expectations throughout the playoffs so far. So I just wanted to try to get a overall view of how the market is currently trending as of right now. Now, the first player I'm going to start off here with is LeBron James, and I have his 2003 Topps Chrome base rookie card in a PSA 10 and also a PSA 9. Now, LeBron James did put together a pretty decent individual season. However, the Lakers were not able to make the playoffs, so we can just take a look at how his cards have been trending with him not being in the playoffs. Now, his cards have been going down for quite some time now. And the date range I'm going to be using for all of the players and cards in today's video is going to be April 10th to current day. April 10th is when the regular season ended, so this is going to hopefully capture how the cards have been trending since the end of the regular season. But it looks like as far as LeBron James, his PSA 10 Topps Chrome rookie card last sale was $8,200, which is still a very expensive card, but that's down about 13% since April 10th. Looks like the PSA 9 last sold for about $2,100, which is down about 11.4%. So it does look like LeBron James and his Topps Chrome rookie card is still trending down. And the next player I have here is Kevin Durant. I have his 2007 Topps base rookie card in a PSA 9, as well as the orange factory set rookie card in a PSA 9. Now, Kevin Durant had a very disappointing postseason this year. Him and Kyrie on the Brooklyn Nets had pretty high expectations, especially when they traded James Harden to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons. There were some expectations that Ben Simmons was be able to come back and play in the postseason this year. That did not happen, and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were unable to even win one game against the Boston Celtics. So not the best postseason for Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. So now we can take a look at how his cards have done since start of the postseason. It looks like the orange factory set PSA 9 is down about 7%, with the last sale being $355, and then his Topps base in a PSA 9 is last sale at $119, which is down about 28%. So it does look like Kevin Durant's rookie cards continue to trend down. The next player and cards I have here is Nikola Jokic, and I have his 2015 Prism base rookie card in a PSA 9. I also have his 2015 Prism silver rookie card also in a PSA 9. Now this is an interesting one because he is currently still favored to win the regular season MVP. However, the Denver Nuggets did have an early exit against the Warriors, which was pretty expected because the Warriors are loaded and the Nuggets don't really have a lot of firepower outside of the Joker. We can take a look at how his cards are trending. It looks like the silver is actually up about 22%, very limited sales over the past month or so. It looks like only 3 sales, but again, that's up 22%, whereas his base Prism is actually down a whopping 29%. So this is an interesting one where we have the silver up pretty significantly, but again, that's off of very limited sales, whereas his Prism base is actually down about 29%. The next player I have here is Donovan Mitchell. I have his 2017 Optic base rookie card in a PSA 10. I also have his 2017 Prism base rookie card also in a PSA 10. Donovan Mitchell is another player that had an early exit on the Utah Jazz, which seems to be more of a trend now than an anomaly for the Jazz, as they're really unable to advance very far in the playoffs. It seems like that's what's happened over the past couple years or so. But we can take a look at how his cards have been trending since the early exit. And it looks like the Prism base in a PSA 10 last sold for $85, which is actually up about 9%, whereas his Optic base rookie card last sold for $51, which is actually up 12%. So this one's kind of interesting Donovan Mitchell did have another early exit in the playoffs. However, it does look like his cards actually went up since the regular season ended. But if we take a look at his 90-day chart, his cards have been going down for quite some time. Over the past 90 days, the Prism is down about 25%, whereas the Optic is down 20%. So Donovan Mitchell's cards, it seems like they've been trending down for quite some time now. So there could have been some buyers coming in once they got eliminated in the early first round, because there's still some speculation that he could be traded at some point in the near future, which I do think would spark a lot of hype and also interest in Donovan Mitchell cards moving forward. So now we looked at some of the players that did not make the playoffs or got eliminated early from the playoffs. We're going to switch over to some of the players that are currently in the playoffs right now. I'm going to start off with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who won the NBA championship last year on the Milwaukee Bucks. I have his 2013 Prism base rookie card in a PSA 10 and also a PSA 9. Since April 10th, the PSA 10 is actually down about 5%. Last sale was about $1,500. The PSA 9 is holding up a lot better, actually up about 8%, so this one's pretty mixed. The PSA 9 is actually holding up much better than the PSA 10. Now this one's interesting. I do think this is going to come down to how Giannis and the Bucks can perform in this year's playoffs. If they have an early exit against the Celtics, I do think these cards will start to trend down. However, if they make another deep postseason run this year, I do think that these cards could continue to rise. The next player I have here is Jayson Tatum. I have his 2017 Optic base rookie card in a PSA 10. I also have his 2017 Prism rookie card in a PSA 10 as well. The Prism's pretty flat since April 10th, actually down about 0.5%, whereas the Optic base since April 10th, last sale is $151, down about 6%. I thought this one's pretty interesting too, because the Celtics and Jayson Tatum looked really good against the Brooklyn Nets. As you can see, his cards did begin to rise during that series here, and at that point it looked like the Prism was actually up about 12%, where the Optic base was up about 3%, and since then it does look like it's cooled down a little bit, as the Bucks look like much tougher competition than the Nets were. So this is another one where I think if the Celtics and Jayson Tatum continue on a hot run, these cards could continue to increase. However, if they can't make it past the Bucks or get knocked out early, these cards could continue to trend down heading into the offseason. Now we take a look at Chris Paul, who's playing very well for the Phoenix Suns, especially when Devin Booker was out for a couple of games. Chris Paul really pulled the slack there. But I have his 2005 Topps Chrome base rookie card in a PSA 9. Looks like since April 10th, this card's actually up about 7.5%, with the last sale being $214. The next player I have here is a fan favorite in Luka Doncic. I have his 2018 Prism base rookie card in a PSA 10, as well as his Prism silver rookie card, also in a PSA 10. It looks like for the silver, the last sale was $2,500. Still a pretty expensive card. That's down about 9% since April 10th. If we take a look at his Prism base rookie card, the last sale being $425, which is down about 5% since the start of the postseason. Now this is another interesting one because Luka is still putting up some very good numbers. He's had another really good season, but I think the problem with Luka and some of these other players and cards is there's just so much expectation built into not only the player but also the card. So if he doesn't really exceed that expectations, and that would be like winning an NBA championship or winning MVP, these card prices just have so much built into them that I think that if he doesn't really exceed those expectations, then the cards are either going to be flat or continue to trend down. And then on the flip side, we can take a look at one of his teammates here who's had an amazing postseason, kind of came out of nowhere, Jalen Brunson. I have his 2018 Prism base rookie card in a PSA 10. I also have his 2018 Prism silver rookie card in a PSA 10. Now, since April 10th, the Prism silver last sold for $260, which is up 104%. The Prism base in a PSA 10 last sold for $64, and that is up 60%, and that's just since the start of the postseason. So this is pretty interesting. He's on the same team as Luka on the Mavs, so they're currently both playing against the Phoenix Suns. And I think the difference between Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic is Luka's cards had so much hype and expectations built into them. If he doesn't really exceed them, they're going to stay flat or trend down, whereas Jalen Brunson really had nothing built into his cards. He was really under the radar, and then once the playoffs started, he really made a name for himself, especially when Luka was out for a couple games. He was putting up over 30 points a game during those couple games when Luka was out, so that card was a lot more under the radar to start with, and then he really exceeded expectations, so his card saw a very large bump over the past month. And then the last player on today's list is a very similar story to Jalen Brunson, but this is Jordan Poole. I have his 2019 Prism base rookie card. I also have his 2019 Silver rookie card. Both of these are going to be in PSA 10s. Now it looks like his Prism Silver in a PSA 10 last sold for $721, which is pretty crazy. That is actually up about 83% since the start of the postseason. Then we have his Prism base in a PSA 10. That's up 136%, with the last sale being at $197. So this is pretty crazy, but this is similar to Jalen Brunson, where there's not a lot of expectations or hype around Jordan Poole heading into the playoffs, and he's had a very good start to the playoffs so far, and his cards are really reflecting that with pretty massive percentage gains. So now that we've looked at a pretty small sample size of some sports cards heading into the playoffs, it does appear that some of the old trends are still holding up for the most part, with players that get knocked out early or did not make the playoffs. It does look like their cards are slowly starting to trend down as we head into the offseason. Whereas if you have players currently playing in the postseason that have not been eliminated yet, their cards are either slightly uptrending based on individual and team performances, but then the big gains are going to be the players that did not have a lot of expectations or hype built into those cards, such as Jordan Poole and Jalen Brunson. And then once the playoffs actually started, they really exceeded those expectations, and then a lot of eyes and hype were on them. That's when you see the massive increases, such as Jordan Poole and Jalen Brunson. Now, moving forward, I do think that players and teams that continue to exceed expectations, their card prices could continue to trend up. But on the flip side, if a player does not meet expectations or underperforms or gets knocked out early, I think that those cards could trend down pretty quickly heading into the offseason. So with all that being said, I really hope you found today's video somewhat entertaining and also informative. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. Thanks, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.